There comes a time in every person's life when they've got to stop carrying the weight that was never meant to be theirs. A time when you stand up, raise your head, and say from the depths of your soul, I don't give a shit anymore. I'm talking about letting go of every toxic whisper, every soul-crushing expectation, every chain this world tries to wrap around your spirit. Let me know if you want this speech refined, extended, or adapted to a different audience, like corporate, youth, or more spiritual. Too often we find ourselves consumed by things that don't deserve a second of our energy. We obsess over what someone said behind our back. We lose sleep over a post that didn't get enough likes. We shape our lives around standards we never agreed to in the first place. Day in and day out, we pour our energy into things that don't feed our spirit. They drain it. We let meaningless drama take up residence in our minds, rent-free, while our purpose waits outside like an uninvited guest. We allow shallow opinions to outweigh deep truths. But let me tell you, not everything that knocks on your door deserves an answer. Not every battle is yours to fight. Not every opinion is worth a reaction. And when you finally realize that, when you finally take inventory of what you've been giving your energy to, it hits you. You've been watering weeds, not flowers. You've been wasting your fire on cold ashes. The noise, the gossip, the pressure to be someone you're not, it's all a distraction. And the more you feed it, the more it grows. The moment you stop giving it power, you take yours back. You get to choose what gets your energy, what gets your focus, and what no longer deserves a single ounce of your attention. When you stop caring about what doesn't matter, you finally make space for what does. No matter what path you walk, no matter how kind, how careful, how flawless you try to be, someone will still have something to say. That's just the way of the world. People will talk whether you're winning or losing. They'll find something to criticize whether you're silent or speaking, whether you're climbing or standing still. You could give them everything, your time, your heart, your best, and still they'll ask why it wasn't more. You see, judgment isn't a reflection of your worth, it's a reflection of their lens. And that lens is often clouded by insecurity, jealousy, misunderstanding, or plain ignorance. But here's the dangerous part. If you start shaping your life to avoid judgment, you will never live freely. You'll become a chameleon, changing colors for every crowd, never sure of who you really are when the noise fades. Chasing approval is one of the most exhausting games you'll ever play, and the truth is, it's rigged from the start. The more you seek it, the more you need it. It becomes a cycle, a trap, a hunger that's never satisfied. You post something and wait for the likes. You speak your mind and second guess yourself, wondering if it landed the right way. You twist yourself into someone else's version of enough, and still, it's not enough for them or for you. Approval might feel good in the moment, but it's a cheap high. It doesn't last, and it doesn't build you up. It teaches you to be performative instead of authentic. It teaches you to shrink parts of yourself to make others comfortable. And worst of all, it makes your worth conditional, based on the ever-changing standards of people who probably don't even know who they are. We spend so much of our lives looking outward for something that can only ever come from within. We think if we just achieve more, impress more, please more, then maybe we'll feel whole. Maybe we'll find peace. So we chase money, status, recognition, relationships, the next big thing, thinking it will finally quiet the noise in our heads and the ache in our hearts. But every time we get there, every time we reach that next goal, we realize it's not enough. Because peace isn't something you can earn, win, or buy. It's not out there in the hands of other people. It doesn't live in someone's approval or in some perfect version of your life. It's inside you. It always has been. The problem is we've been taught to search in all the wrong places. We've been taught to depend on external validation to feel internally okay. But real peace, it's the kind that comes when you stop running, when you stop apologizing for your existence, when you stop measuring your value with someone else's ruler. Peace is born the moment you say, I'm done trying to meet standards that were never mine to meet. It shows up when you stop giving a damn about fitting in and start focusing on feeling aligned. When you stop editing yourself just to be liked and start embracing yourself to be free. The outside world will always shift. It will always throw chaos your way. But when the inside of you is grounded, when you've made peace with who you are and what you're here to do, nothing out there can shake what's in here. Letting go isn't weakness, it's strength. It's not about giving up, it's about rising up. It's about realizing you've carried burdens that were never yours to carry. Expectations, guilt, shame, people's projections, roles you never agreed to but felt obligated to play. And the moment you finally release all that weight, something powerful happens. You create space. You create space for peace, for clarity, for purpose. You create space for yourself, not the version they told you to be, but the real you, the one that's been buried under years of pressure and pretending. Letting go means saying, I'm not responsible for everyone's comfort. It means you stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. It means you stop clinging to relationships that only survive when you shrink. It means you stop investing your energy in fights that don't grow you, opinions that don't matter, and identities that never fit in the first place. It's not easy. The world tells us to hold on, to power through, to people please, to smile through the pain. But letting go is a holy rebellion. It's you drawing a line in the sand and saying, this is where I stop, betraying myself for the sake of being accepted. And when you do that, when you finally unclench your fists, drop the facade, and breathe again, you don't feel empty. You feel free. You feel light. You feel like you finally come home to yourself. Because the things you let go of were never love. never truth, never real. No matter what you do, how pure your intentions are, or how hard you try to get it right, there will always be someone who doesn't approve, someone who questions your path, doubts your motives, mocks your dreams, or thinks they know better. You could sacrifice your time, your energy, your joy, twist yourself into knots trying to keep everyone happy, and still someone will say, it's not enough. Or worse, it's too much. So what does that tell you? That pleasing everyone isn't just impossible, it's a slow death of your authenticity. It's a daily erosion of your soul. The more you try to be everything for everyone, the further you drift from the one person you were meant to be. Yours. Even the greatest, the kindest, the wisest were judged. They were misunderstood, ridiculed, crucified in public opinion. So if they couldn't escape it, what makes you think you will? But we live in a world addicted to the hustle. A world that says, keep going, don't rest, don't stop. If you're not producing, you're falling behind. So we wear burnout like a badge of honor. We confuse exhaustion with purpose. We mistake busyness for importance. And slowly we start to believe that unless we're constantly striving, we're not worthy of love, respect, or even rest. But that's not truth. That's a trap. A system built on insecurity, designed to keep you distracted and disconnected from your own soul. And the only way out is to reject the lie completely, to stop giving a shit about what the world says you should be doing, and start honoring what you actually need. Rest, joy, presence, wholeness. You don't have to prove your value through performance. Just existing is proof enough that you matter. And once you finally stop measuring yourself by what you produce, you'll realize that the most powerful thing you can be is at peace with yourself. Every day you're surrounded by noise, opinions, headlines, gossip, comparison, distraction. It's everywhere. Notifications buzz, algorithms shout, people pull you in 1,000 directions, all demanding your attention. And the more you feed that noise, the louder it gets. The more you respond, the more it takes. It steals your time, your focus, your mental clarity, until your mind is cluttered with things that don't even belong to you. You weren't born to live in reaction mode. You weren't created to constantly absorb chaos. But if you keep feeding the noise, if you keep clicking, replying, scrolling, engaging, it will grow. It will demand more. And it will drown out the voice that matters most, your own. Because buried beneath all that noise is something sacred, that still, quiet place inside you that already knows who you are, what you believe, and where you're meant to go. But that voice doesn't shout. It doesn't compete. It whispers. It waits. And you'll only hear it when you stop fueling the distractions long enough to listen. We think we have to respond to everything, every text, every comment, every crisis that isn't ours. But you don't. You have the right to protect your peace, to step back, to mute the chaos, to say, this doesn't need my energy. You have the power to choose silence over noise, clarity over confusion, alignment over attention. The world will keep spinning. The noise will always be there, but you don't have to be at the mercy of it. You don't have to let it run your mind or hijack your day. The moment you stop feeding the noise, you reclaim your power. You make room for purpose. You make room for peace. You make room for you. What you focus on, you give life to. That's a law of the universe, whether you realize it or not. Every thought, every feeling, every action, these are like seeds you plant in your mind, in your heart, and in your life. And just like seeds, they grow. So ask yourself, what have you been planting? When you constantly focus on your fears, your shortcomings, your doubts, they multiply. When you give your energy to the things you can't control, the negativity, the toxicity, it takes root and starts to dominate your mind. It clouds your judgment, distorts your perspective, and fills your heart with frustration. And before you know it, you've built an entire garden of weeds, choking out the good things you want to grow. But here's the beauty of it. You also have the power to choose where you direct your attention. You can shift your focus. You can water the things that nourish you, your passions, your dreams, your growth, your gratitude. You can choose to see the beauty in what you have rather than the lack. You can choose to cultivate peace, hope, and joy instead of fear, envy, and regret. When you focus on what you want to create in your life, when you focus on the good, the true, the pure, you invite those things to manifest. What you nurture grows. What you feed flourishes. And suddenly the weeds start to wither away and the flowers in your life begin to bloom. Living for something bigger means stepping outside the confines of what society tells you should matter. It means releasing the fear of missing out on the shallow and focusing instead on what aligns with your deepest values. You begin to see that your life is not about fitting into a mold that was never made for you, but about carving out your own path, walking in the direction that brings you peace and fulfillment, regardless of what anyone else thinks. When you live for something bigger, you stop letting the small things dictate your happiness. You stop allowing external circumstances to control your internal state. You become immune to the fleeting judgments and opinions because you know who you are and you know what you're here for. Your worth is not wrapped up in someone else's expectations. It's found in your connection to something greater than all of that. And when you connect to something bigger, everything changes. You start to see your struggles as part of a larger story, your setbacks as stepping stones, and your triumphs as reflections of your purpose. Life no longer feels like a series of random events or meaningless tasks. It becomes a journey of growth evolution, and impact. You start to show up with a fire that burns from within, not because you want to impress anyone, but because you are living in alignment with your deepest calling. This is the freedom that comes from letting go of the small stuff. When you stop worrying about everything and everyone that doesn't serve you, you free yourself up to focus on what truly matters, the life you were born to live, the legacy you were meant to create, and the difference you're here to make in the world. And that, my friend, is a life that cannot be measured by anyone else's standards. It's a life defined by purpose, authenticity, and peace. It's the kind of life that when you stop giving a damn about all the distractions, you can truly say you're living. So here's the truth, plain and simple. You are not here to please the world. You are not here to fit into someone else's expectations or to spend your life chasing after validation that won't bring you peace. You were made for more than that. You were made for purpose. You were made to live boldly, freely, and authentically without being shackled by the opinions of others or weighed down by things that don't serve your soul. And the moment you stop giving a damn about all the distractions, about the judgments, the noise, the endless pursuit of approval, that's the moment you start living. You create space for what matters. You begin to hear your own voice over the chaos. And most importantly, you embrace the truth that you are enough, exactly as you are. So let go of the weight. Stop living for the approval of people who never truly see you. Stop feeding the noise. Focus on what matters. And live for something bigger than the petty struggles that once held you back. When you do that, when you truly stop giving a damn about everything that doesn't align with your truth, that's when you step into your power. That's when you start to live the life you were always meant to live.